na 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 na
Square
na
round
na.
You know, you need to tune in if you want to hear So we Chad, Josh, Dmitri, and Marcus every Friday.
It's the Square Round Table.
Tune in.
It's the Square Round Table podcast. Tune in every Friday. Let's have a blast. I know at work you had a long day. Just relax and tune in.
Make sure you tune in weekly, every Friday. MajorsOnMusic.com. We also tune on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. So yeah.
Hey, what's going on, my freaks and geeks out there? We're the Square Roundtable podcast. I want to thank you all for tuning in with us tonight. And yeah, guys, for all of our folks out there, man, definitely happy Black History Month, man. Like, we're so excited to be with y'all and celebrate with you guys, man. And tonight, we just want to talk about a lot of good stuff going on in the Black community. We want to talk about cinema, Black cinema specifically, and just the amount of Black excellence that's been going around lately, guys. So without further ado, let's talk about it. What's going on, y'all? How y'all doing tonight?
Man, I'm good. So just to start it off, I want to congratulate Miss Regina King on being nominated for a Golden Globe Award for her directing in her latest film that just came out, which is her first film. So it is her directorial debut, One Night in Miami. So she's being nominated for Best Director. So congratulations on that.
Definitely.
What else is going on? Ryan Coogler just inked a 5-year deal with Disney, so he put better in his pocket. Yeah. So right now we looking real good right now in cinema. So what I wanna ask y'all to start it off is,
what's up?
And it's a tough question because it's so many out there. But if you had to choose one, I'll say one Black director in a film that they've put out that you've seen, what would be like your favorite?
Okay. Joshua, you want to go first on this one?
Nah, you got it.
Okay. Well, man, I got such an affinity. I hate that his name escapes me, Marcus. You'll be able to help me out. But because I love this movie with all my heart. Who directed and I'm still trying to find his name, but who directed wow, God, the movie is escaping me too. Moonlight, because I'm thinking of the name of the play, because the play is like in the moonlight.
Who did Moonlight? Who was it? Was it Fuqua?
Let me look it up. Let me see who directed Moonlight.
I got the IMDb app right here.
Okay.
Barry Jenkins.
Yep, I was just about to say Barry Jenkins. So yeah, man, I gotta give it to Barry Jenkins because that was it's such an awesome movie for me, man. Because the thing that I love the most about it is in the African American community, man, like especially in media and in music, you see it everywhere. It's just, and it's based on just like an old way of looking at Black men, and just the old way that Black men have had to portray themselves. You never really see in a situation where you see Black men really being like bare in a way that they express their feelings and that kind of thing. Like, everybody's always so tough and strong, and it's really like one-dimensional to me when you see a lot of these Black characters in movies. And I love the way like Barry Jenkins directed Moonlight, because it's just like, and even towards the end of the movie we see it. It's such a great example of how like art mimics life, because we see this guy who's like tough and mean and all that kind of stuff, because that's what society wants to see. And he knows that in order for him to thrive in society, that's who he's going to have to be. That's not him, but that's how he's going to have to portray himself. but you get to see even towards the end of the movie on the inside, like how he feels and how he's still that hurt child, you know what I'm saying, that didn't get love from his mom, that never had a full relationship because he wasn't able to realize his life and be the person that he was because he was scared of how people would treat him as a homosexual man, you know. And I really appreciate that representation that Barry had in that movie. Like it was huge for me, man. I love that. I've seen that movie about like maybe probably like 3 times, and I'm gonna definitely have to. I've been meaning to buy the screenplay for that because they have like a screenplay book for that movie, and I know you're big on stuff like that, Marcus. Like,
Oh yeah,
so
I love me a good screenplay.
Yeah.
Since Josh is having a hard time, I'll go next. So if y'all know me, y'all know I'm a big Spike Lee fan.
Of course.
I'm a early '90s baby, so like Spike Lee was like him and John Singleton was like the 2 like big black like movie directors at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But as much as I love John Singleton, God rest his soul, Spike kind of drew a little bit closer to some of his stuff just because I like the whole like hip hop vibe he used to have with films. So for me, a Spike Lee film, everybody will always think I would say Malcolm X because of how much I love, you know, and admire Malcolm X as a person. But for me, it would be Crooklyn. And I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
Because Crooklyn is a movie that's about family. And if it's one thing I love is my family. So, you know, I just love how in that movie he really just shows a black family living in Harlem. And I think it was like set in the 70s or something, like mid early 70s. But like he really showed, you know, the struggle of being, you know, like middle class in Harlem, you know, growing up in a house, you know, on the block with like 5 people in the house at one time. Showing how when you go visit your relatives down south and how it's so different from being up north, and you know it's a good movie. And another thing, it always makes me cry no matter how many times I watch it. I still get emotional, but I just love that movie because it really, you know, it hits me right here. And when you get me right there, you know, you already got my money in my mind and my time, you know. But yeah, that's for me. It'll be Spike Lee and it'll be Brooklyn, which I think came out like before or after I was born. So I was a baby when it was out. Either way, but that's probably one of my favorite films. So yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Well, yeah. As you all probably know, I'm not much of a film connoisseur, but I really like Baby Boy by John Singleton. I really like that movie.
Come on, Josh.
I watch it every time it comes on. I'm not gonna lie.
Come on, boy. Come on, Josh. What I'm talking about.
Yeah, you know, I know a little something, but yeah. So I really like Baby Boy because because Tyrese, he wants to be a gangster, or at least he is a gangster, but at the same time he wants to be like in this how can I put this? So basically, I just kind of like the parallel of, you know, him doing little boy stuff and grown man stuff. Like, you know, he rides his bike, he goes to his mom's house, might stay at his mom's house, but over on the other side, you know, he has this his way of making money and the way that he makes his living, and he has his girlfriend and his kid. And with that said, I just kind of like the night and day with
duality, man.
I like the duality of it. I don't really know how to put it right now, but yeah, I really like the duality of that movie and how he's kind of more of a product of his environment.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I love that.
Yeah,
and it's
so like, what are you gonna say?
It's so funny because I didn't understand that movie until I got older, and then especially when I started to study film, and John Singleton was just so damn like amazing because it was stuff he had in there that you didn't even realize, like him, like the whole part at the beginning when they got like a grown man in the womb. Like,
Yes.
I was like, what is up with that? Like, I used to think it was like weird, but the whole thing about how you could be grown, but you still your mama's baby. You still can be a mama's boy. Like all of us, we love our mother, and we all in like our 20s. Well, for me, my 20s is gonna be over. So, but like when he was I think it was like a part when he was at home, he was at his mom's house, and they talk about the whole thing, like how I think he referred to like I'm going to my mom's crib, and like how the crib refers to the house as a crib. So it's still like that infertility, that like that newborn
like
baby kind of thing. Like my mother's still nurturing me, and he goes there and he talks to her, get advice from her, and the whole thing about how he gets upset when another man is in the house, because he feels like, that's his mother. This is this is who I am attached to. So I don't want anybody to take her away from me. And then just like you said, Josh, when he goes to be a father to his son, he's struggling with that because he never had that father figure in his life. So it's a great movie, but all seriousness aside, my favorite part is the part when they get the guys in the park who stole.
I already knew you were gonna say that,
bro. Cause that is funny as hell. Because it's like he told the one dude, he was like, "Oh, so you got heart, nigga?" He's like, "Okay, mm-hmm." So I was like, "Oh, he finna punch." When I first seen, I was like, "Oh, he finna knock him out." That man took off his belt and was like, "Wow, wow."
Right. And I'm like, and my thing is, me and my parents, like, every time we watch it, we laugh at that scene because it's like Tyrese. And we like, bro, you supposed to be hard, bro, but you sitting out there, you don't even want to watch it. Like,
exactly.
He's like, oh, that was too much for you to handle. Like, oh, okay.
And speaking of being like hard, like what also like another part I really like about Baby Boy is that like we were talking about the part with the womb, and like that kind of also represents his like kind of like, even though he's kind of like a street guy and he's a gangbanger, or at least tries to be, like it kind of like represents his like the innocence that he tries to keep as a
certainly
like the innocence he tries to keep as a grown man, and like him being like afraid sometimes, where like when him and the other guy were I forget the scene, where they were chasing after Snoop Dogg, right?
Yeah.
And he was always so scared to make a move. He doesn't ever want to shoot anybody.
Yeah.
He's always so paranoid. So he knows that he's doing bad, but he's like, okay, well, again, like this is all I know. This is how I know to make my living. So,
but he tries to hold on to that little sense of innocence, kind of. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he won't, and you can look at that in another way. It's like I said, that movie, and I'm glad you brought that up, man. John Singleton is so smart because there's so many parallels. You can also say that he doesn't commit to anything. He doesn't commit to his girl. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't commit to being. My thing is, if you want to be a gangbanger, he don't fully commit to that. He don't fully commit to working a real job. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's crazy, man. You can make a whole lot of parallels in that movie. Just to the name, you know what I'm saying? Baby Boy, like that's truly the theme of the whole movie. Like he's trying to be, it's literally a coming of age story. It is, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I love the way that that John Singleton handled it. That was a good one, Josh. Like that was pretty good. Yeah, but I'm gonna hit y'all with another one though. I'm gonna hit y'all with another one that ain't nobody thinking about. Keenan Ivory Wayans. Like,
you know what, bro? That man right there.
Come on now,
genius. Because he put so many people on.
Yeah,
he put a lot of people on. Like it's a lot of people who can think their careers for him, man. That dude right there.
Seriously, I mean, because go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, just like movies, television, like man.
Yeah, dude. Like when you talk about like, black directors. I feel like he gets overlooked a whole lot. And
him and Robert Townsend.
Yeah, exactly. Him and Robert Townsend. But the biggest thing to me is like when people talk about, I like to look at the world of comedy. When people talk about like I won't say like the kings of comedy, like stand up, but the guys that kind of put everybody on. Everybody mentions Adam Sandler. Everybody mentions Seth Rogen. Everybody mentions on the Saturday Night Live guys, Lorne Michaels. But nobody says anything about Keenen Ivory Wayans.
Robert Townsend, they don't talk about him.
Exactly. In comedy, it's like these guys, they're those guys, man, for the African American community.
Let's just name drop some people.
Let's do it.
Who like shot off because of this, man? Okay, so we got he gave Chris Rock his first movie role.
Yep.
He gave Jim Carrey an opportunity when Saturday Night Live turned him down.
He
gave Jamie Foxx. He made Jamie Foxx a household name.
Yep.
Tommy Davidson.
Yep.
David Allegretti, who's still doing stuff to this.
Still killing it. Yeah.
Jennifer Lopez started out as a dancer on the show. Marlon was a DJ and ended up acting on the show.
Yeah.
Who else?
He gave one thing that I thought was really important and that a lot of people don't talk about is that he gave that was his brother, but it's just like he gave Damon Wayans the space to be who he wanted to be when Saturday Night Live fired him.
And he was good on Saturday Night Live. He was good.
But the problem is, bro, like, and I'm glad we're getting into this because a lot of it happens in so many spaces, man. I remember he talked about him having a conversation with like Lorne Michaels and with a lot of people from the show. Because you guys know, ain't nobody stupid. Saturday Night Live has 1 to 2 black men at a time. You know what I'm saying? And with
1 to 2 black women. It's always been like that.
And it's always been like that. But in the comedy business in general, there's always that token guy. Like right now, the token guy is who?
Keenen.
Well, no, I mean, on Saturday Night Live, but just in comedy in general.
Like, period.
Yeah, Kevin. Kevin's that token guy right now.
Yeah, Kevin Hart is a token guy because he's in everything. Everything. Look, commercials. He got a YouTube show. He's in 2 to 3 movies every year. He comes out with stand-ups that nobody wants to watch anymore every year.
But because, you know why? Because it's happening. It's happening, and Kevin Hart's time is coming to an end, and there's going to be some random black guy that rises through the ranks, and it's going to be his turn. And the thing that kills me, and I'm getting back to the Damon story, the thing with him is that everybody that at that moment in time, Eddie Murphy was the it guy. It was Eddie, and they were grooming Damon to be the next Eddie. And he didn't want to be that. He's like, no, that's not my style of comedy. You know what I'm saying? I'm not an Eddie Murphy. I'm not trying to do that. And then in a particular sketch, I remember specifically the sketch he got fired for. It was a police officer sketch. And they wanted him to play the straight man. And he changed up the role. And instead of being like it was such a stupid sketch. We'll put it in the link under the description. But basically the premise was, it was two officers. One of them was black, one of them was a white guy. And they were arresting, I want to say the Monopoly man, something like that. It was so dumb. But, and basically the funny person in the sketch was supposed to be the Monopoly man, but Damon made his police officer flamboyant. So, but he wasn't supposed to be like that, but he made the character flamboyant and Lorne Michaels fired him over it.
I was gonna say, and if you know about Lorne Michaels, he hates when people go off script. Like, he
definitely hates it. So that's what he got fired for. And then from there, he went over to In Living Color. And you already know what happened. I mean, let's name the characters, man. You know what I'm saying? Like countless, you got men in film. You got men in film, Homie the Clown. You got his homeless character. Yeah, it's like, bro, you got what is it? Handyman. I mean, come on, guys. It's like, he really got his,
And then he goes and makes one of the most underrated movies in the black community, Mr. Blank Man. Nobody talks about Blank Man. But Blank Man, I'm going to tell you about Blank Man. This is how much I love Blank Man. I got a towel and tied it around my neck and found like some old socks, one of my old socks, and cut holes in them and like made me a mask and stuff. And I had a onesie. And I was like, I told my mom, I was like, I'm Blank Man. She was like, well, I'm a Blank Man you if you cut some more holes in some socks. And I was like, okay, that's it for that. So
exactly.
But yeah, man, like it's just real important to give recognition to these, black directors and producers whose voices, are unheard a lot. Just like today, I was talking to my brother, and I was like, I feel like Queen Latifah as an entertainer doesn't get enough credit for what she's done and accomplished, because everybody talks about, all these great, female, if they're rappers turn actors, or, just females, period, in acting. And if you look at Queen Latifah's, like, what's the word I'm trying to use?
Like her pedigree?
Yeah, if you look at it, you see, like, really, just think about one movie you've seen her in that you don't really like. Even if it wasn't like the best movie, she's never really been in a movie that's bad, that you just can't sit there and watch. You know what I'm saying? And
I agree, 100%.
And it's so crazy because she really kind of like catapulted that, whole rappers turn into actors thing, because she started off, acting, and then ended up getting her own show, and they took a chance on her because it's like nobody knows how good this is going to turn out. And then look what happened. It turned into a whole, phenomenon. So it's a lot of people who don't get credit, for what they've done as far as like, entertainment. And one person that I always have to give a shout out to when I talk about cinema, and especially when we talk about black cinema, this is an unheard voice too. And you guys probably never heard of him because he's not talked about in history a lot. But the actual first black film producer to have like his own production company, directing his own films, having black actors in a studio, was a guy named Oscar Mache. Macho, it's either Macho or Mache. It's like, with the X on with the AUX on the end.
Okay.
And this was like during, like, I want to say the silent era, and kind of
really now
sound. Yeah.
So the Charlie Chaplin era?
Yeah, it was in early Hollywood. And
oh wow.
Matter of fact, he got I think Paul Robeson. Don't quote me on that. I don't know if it's him, but I know for sure Lena Horne was like in one of his movies, and that's how she got her start. And it was around the time like after like the minstrel shows they were doing.
Yeah, okay.
Blackface, or they would have like which was crazy because they would have black actors in the minstrel.
Yes.
They would still make them wear blackface.
Yes.
So, and that's a conversation for a whole.
That's a whole conversation.
That's some stuff that still goes on now.
Oh my God, yeah.
He's so important in a part of history because he was doing it at a time when it was like very ballsy. Because for him to have all that going on, if y'all get a chance, look him up, just read about him. I think you can find some documentaries about him and stuff. If I can pull it up or find it, like you say, we'll put the link, down below so you guys can check it out. But if not, definitely look him up because he's very important. Because a lot of people always talk about, Tyler Perry and how, he's like he's one of the first to like produce his own stuff and have his own studio. But before Tyler Perry, it was my guy Oscar. So I gotta show love to him because he's really an unsung hero, in film for black people. So that's my little Black history fact for y'all today. That y'all, just to lay on y'all like that.
No, that's a good one, man. And say his name one more time for our listeners out there and everybody.
His name is Oscar Michaud, or it's either Michaud or Mache. It's spelled
Okay.
Micheaux. So that's why I say I always get the
Oh,
pronunciation wrong because it has that X on the end. So some people say it different.
differently.
Yeah,
No, of course.
he did. They say he independently produced over more than 44 films. So this was
Wow.
early. This was early Hollywood cinema, black and white. Silent era, and then like the early um beginnings of sound was film when sound came into film. So yes,
And that's such an important thing, bro, because you always see like because I'm gonna name another guy in a second, but before I get into that, I kind of want to talk about how like you got stuff that's literally made to keep us down, like these blackface and all these things that were made to really make fun of African Americans, and even in that, bro, we still found ways to thrive. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's just shows, how strong black people are. You know what I'm saying? Like, because we've had to go through so much, man. And even in something that's supposed to be a form of entertainment, you know what I'm saying? Like, we shouldn't have to face discrimination for that, but we have. And we still, in a way, we do today. Yeah, we still do. And I wanted to talk about another guy, who took, what he really only he worked with what he had, man. Another guy that had his own production studio and his own team and hired his own people. And I feel bad because I wasn't really I didn't pay attention to him and take him seriously until I saw Eddie Murphy portray him. And that's my guy, Rudy Ray Moore. Man.
Oh yeah, Rudy Ray Moore. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Rudy Ray Moore. He really, like you said, he really worked with what he had, and he
worked with what he had, man.
He had to push some boundaries and jump some fences and put some lines together because they really wasn't trying to fund him on what he was doing, but he another person who had a lot of balls. And what's his name? It's gonna come to me. Tim Reed, I think that's who it is. The guy who played Ray on Sister. I think his name is Tim Reed.
What does he look like? I can't remember.
The dad from Sister.
Oh, the dad. Oh, that's Tim Reed. Yeah.
He's another person who had his own production company.
Oh wow.
And for black people. So that's another person. So it's some people out there that you don't hear about that they don't really focus on a lot. Because right now, it's always, and don't get me wrong, I love his stuff, but it's always Tyler Perry. That's the first person they talk about. But I really wish they would start recognizing these other people who paved the way, for African Americans in entertainment. Like you said, Keenan Ivory Wayne, Robert Townsend. If it's no Robert Townsend, you don't have a John Singleton. You don't have a Spike. You don't have a Ava DuVernay. You don't have a Lee Daniels. You don't have Tyler Perry's. You don't have Regina King. So it's you gotta look at the beginning. And like you said, Rudy Ray Moore, like people like him and Robert Townsend were using what they could with the money they had, because Robert Townsend was shooting I forget the film, but it's the one with him where he's where he has the scene about going to black acting school, and it's like how to portray a slave, and it's so funny. Now that clip we gonna put in the link below.
Yeah, I got it.
It shows you how to act like a slave, and it's so funny because he's doing the slave, and as soon as he's done, he's talking like real proper and stuff, and then he goes back into it.
Oh,
and
God.
It's so hilarious. I love Robert Townsend, man. He is so hilarious.
No, me too. I'm a huge fan.
So
and there you go. Like, look, without Robert Townsend, bro, without Damon, without Blank Man and Meteor Man, there's no Blade, bro. There's no Black Panther, bro.
And
none of it.
I'm glad you said Blade. Because let's give Blade recognition because Blade really saved Marvel from going straight bankrupt as far as like movies and just the company period. Because if Blade didn't do as well as it did, we would have never heard of Marvel again. Because that was like really the first Marvel film to do successful in the box office and a rated R film at that. Before like Deadpool and all that came, that was the first rated R superhero movie to, hit the box office and, break records. So we gotta give recognition to Blade, like you said. So
certainly.
That,
No, 100%. No, you definitely got to because like I was, and it's funny we're talking about Blade because I was just watching it. I think Joshua, I think you were upstairs with us the other day. We were watching Blade, and I mean, bruh, it still holds up today. Like it really does. It's such a good movie, and it's like, and when you talk about cinema and Black representation, I would say in that era, superhero movies weren't taken seriously, and I like to look at even Michael Jai White and Spawn. Mm-hmm. Think about the technical mastery of all that CGI that was put in that movie. Mm-hmm. Like, if we didn't have that, like, that was just like a test to see how these movies would be taken seriously, like, from, that point to the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies to what we got right now. Like, that was so big. Like, I think I have the Spawn DVD. Like I got it like twice. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just that was such a big, a huge thing for me, man. Like it's like, and these were just like the bricks that were put in place to be able to have stuff like Black Panther now. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this was done years ago, so I completely believe like people like Wesley Snipes, man, and Michael Jai White and all that. We definitely gotta give these guys their props of being like one of the first to do it. And once again, Spawn, that's another rated R superhero movie, dude. Yep. So think about where we would be right now. People are tripping over Deadpool. They were doing it back then.
They was doing it way back then, bro.
I'm just saying.
Doing it way back then. So, yes, man, we definitely here at the Square Round Table. We like to recognize those pioneers and film and entertainment who don't really get the spotlight enough. And it's sad to see it because it's just the reality of entertainment right now. And being a person that's a film, in that field, and I took it in school, it's kind of rough to read all these theories and watch all these films, and you got to kind of realize how your race was treated throughout the history of Hollywood and cinema. And when I found out about the guy I was just talking about, Oscar Mache, that was towards the end of, like my second to last semester. And it was through, I think it was a film genre class. And we were going through it was a history class, but it was genres. And we going through the different phases of film genre. And he touched one day on the minstrel shows. And then that's how we got into that. So I'm learning all of this stuff later on in my life that I never knew because it's just certain stuff they don't teach you and put in the history books, so you're not gonna know it. And just like Chad is saying and Josh is saying, the reason why we know these people because this is stuff we watched, so we were already aware of it, whether they taught it to us or not. Because if it's one thing Black families do, we watch movies, no matter who it is. We watch movies
for sure.
And when you grow up in a household and you hear names like Robert Townsend and Keenan Ivory Wayans and Rudy Ray Moore, who else? You hear movies like Shaft.
Yeah.
Man, it's so many. Cooley High, stuff like that. You grow up watching stuff like that, and it's crazy for me because it hits in a different place because I never thought that I would end up trying to be in those same, position and lanes that those people are as a kid. Like I know I always loved it, and I used to sit down and watch film. And back then, I used to wait till they had like the little show where they would show behind the scenes stuff of films, so I could see like how they made stuff. And I knew then something was wrong with me because I know nobody used to like to watch that stuff but me. But it's just so awesome to be living in this time and seeing, the change slowly happen. Like, even though it's a slow change, at least it's something that I get to see progress, each year, baby steps, you gotta take baby steps before you take big steps. So
No,
it's
you do.
really a pleasure.
And the funny part is, I think the baby steps, man, are for everybody else, because Black people have always been there. We're just not talked about. We've always been there. We've always been going above and beyond the Call of Duty, man. As creators, as scientists, as as directors, as artists. And I hate to sound like I'm on a soapbox, man, but it's completely true. Like I just my mom, actually, I don't know if you guys are aware, my mom actually brought attention today, another passing of somebody really important in the African American community that I didn't know about until today. Now, what's the longest running, I'm gonna ask you guys, what's the longest running TV show ever?
What, like out of all shows?
Yeah, one that's still going on today, the longest running show.
It's The Simpsons, right?
Correct. And you know what? The writer and the director of The Simpsons was a Black man.
Wow.
Did you know that?
I did.
You didn't know that, did you?
I did not know that.
Yeah, so rest in peace. He just passed at 50, I want to say it's 57 years old. Let me, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, passed at 57, Mr. Mark Wilmore. Rest in peace. Director and writer of The Simpsons, the longest running television show in history. Longest running cartoon ever. A Black man. And I didn't know anything about him until
didn't know anything about that. This is my first time ever hearing about that. And see,
yep,
yeah, that's what we're here for, to give you this information, so you could go look these people up, see what they contribute to not just Black entertainment, but just film and cinema. Period, because it's not always just about a color or anything. It's just about what that person has contributed to this, this medium that we get to just wake up and watch every day and enjoy it. Whether you watch an episode from when it first came out to whether you still watch it now, it's there. So that's I'm glad you gave him that shout out, because another unsung hero.
Another unsung hero, man.
Nobody, sadly, nobody really knows about. So,
yeah, seriously. I mean, and I think, and it's horrible that, a person like that has the pass before they really get their roses, because I think it's such a disservice to the African American community for representation for young Black children, young children of color coming up wanting to do these things, but they have this cognitive dissonance of like, okay, I love cartoons. I want to draw cartoons. I want to be a director, or I want to be a scientist. I want to be an artist, but man, I don't see it. I don't see me doing these things. And it's a crime, because there are people out here, people of color, doing all of these things, but they don't get the praise because of whatever kind of, racist or prejudices there are in these companies and businesses that still go on. Like we talked about all these guys that overcame blatant racism, people dressing up in blackface, people doing blaxploitation films that make fun of African Americans and African American traditions, all of these things, they overcame this in old school Hollywood, and we still have to deal with some of this stuff today, man. And it's a shame, but I applaud, my people for being able to be successful in environments that truly don't want you to be a part, but I just believe that, man, we gotta do better, man. We really do. It's really disgusting. Like I said, I was heartbroken that I had to find out about this guy after he had already passed away.
Yeah, that's really sad. Like, you know, like they say, bro, they gotta have us, but they don't want us. Which is people might hear that and be like, wow, that doesn't really make sense. But it's the truth. They gotta have black people and our traditions and what we bring to the table. But once we do it, they don't want us around it.
Exactly.
It's like,
Yeah.
okay, come give us this and that. Come make this for us. Okay, now you can go away. You did what you were supposed to do. So go away. And that's why a lot of times you see like these black directors that are come up and coming, they start off doing indie films before
Yeah.
they even get to the studios because they like, I gotta make a name for myself because they're not fortunate to just get that first big. Like, think about every black director we talk about now, like Ryan Coogler. His one
Yep.
of his first film was Fruitville Station, a story about Oscar. I think it was Oscar Gray, right? Was the
Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
look that up.
yeah.
That
yeah,
was it, Oscar Rare.
it was about police brutality, and he was shot in Oakland in a train station when I think they was accusing mistaken identity or something. But he
Yeah,
chose
Oscar Grant. Yeah.
yeah, Oscar Grant. He chose to take that on as his first film, and it was an indie project. It did the way they do it is they take these films to these film festivals like the Cannes Film Festival, Toronto
Yep.
Film, and that's how they built their name.
Yeah.
The fact that they have to go that route, like you said, Chad, that still shows you that we still have to jump over some bridges and
Yeah.
climb through some fences just to kind of get up there to that status quo of Steven Spielberg or what's Christopher Nolan, guys like that. Like,
Yeah.
how long is it gonna be till they give a black man the chance to direct a Batman movie
Man.
or a Superman film or Wonder Woman or Iron Man or Captain America? These big superheroes. Because don't get me wrong, I love Black Panther, but why do you give the biggest superhero, like black superhero, to a black director? Not saying it's wrong,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
get why you do it, but why can't Ryan Coogler go direct a Star Wars film, or why he can't direct the next Batman movie, or why he can't go and direct the next Avengers movie? You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like we're
Yeah.
still getting
Right.
attached to every black thing. It's like everything is black. The black person has to do it, and you know, not something else that's a big contribution.
Exactly. It's like I think of it as like a bowl of Skittles. It's like I don't want the purple Skittle. I want the red one.
Yeah,
You
all my
know,
nieces
it's like why?
definitely
It's like
tonight.
why I always got to get the purple one.
Say hey to
Hey.
the guys.
Hey.
Hey.
All right. I'll see you later.
but but yeah, like I was saying, like I think of that as like a bowl of Skittles.
Okay,
It's like
good night.
yeah, but like I think of it as like a bowl of Skittles. It's like I don't want the purple one. I want the red one. It's like how come every time I want some Skittles, you got to give me the purple ones?
No, and I
So many
mean,
other flavors.
no, and that's a good way of looking at it because I mean, you see it in bits and pieces. Like, isn't because I want to say, don't they have Taika? I think we pronounce his name Taika Waititi.
Yeah.
He's a person of color and he's directing a Star Wars film, but it's like you see it. Like I said, I would love to see like Ryan Coogler, direct a Superman film or something, but it's just like, and like you said, that makes sense, at the end of the day, because these people know, it would have been so much backlash if you had a Black Panther movie and they made it directed by Christopher Nolan.
Oh yeah. No.
So I mean, in that case, they had to.
They had to. They had to.
Uh.
That's why I say I don't have a problem with something like that. But at the same time, just give them that opportunity as you would another one. Because if you look down, if you take a piece of paper and you just put every superhero film that's been made and you tag the director next to it, out of all those directors, it's gonna he might be the only black director to do a superhero film, I think. Honestly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what the guy you just named?
And
I
Taika.
don't want to mess
Yeah.
his name up, but yeah. And
Yeah.
it's sad because think about how many superhero films have been made since like let's just start from Tim Burton's Batman. So that's 89. That's
Yeah.
30 something years of superhero films, okay?
Right.
And you can only think of one, African American who's directed one. That's
Seriously.
the kind of thing I'm talking about where it's like a progression, but it's still like a pullback every time, we get somewhere. So
No, yeah, it is. No, it's really a problem, and it makes you understand stuff like, and that's my fault for not mentioning him earlier when we, but we're talking about black directors in general. But when you look and see why a guy like Jordan Peele doesn't want to direct a Blade movie, it's like, don't give me the black guy. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like it's just it's way too cliche, and I think what he's doing as far as I don't want to see him direct a Blade movie. I appreciate more of what he's doing now with making black people, making African Americans, putting them in the forefront of sci-fi and of horror films. Like I love that. I think he's doing such a service for African Americans. Like I really do.
And he's doing my favorite kind of like movie, like the psychological horror. Like,
yes, psychological
the kind
horror.
of horror that's reality. That's the kind of like when you use reality for horror, that's the best kind of movie ever. And I don't think anybody, because that's stuff that's really happening that can really scare you. That's scary. Something like that is more scary than a man who comes in my nightmares and kills me. Like, that kind of stuff scares me 10 times more. So, like you said, that's another person. Gotta appreciate him more because he's changing the game. So it's those kind of directors are my favorite directors. The Jordan Peels, the Ava, DuVernay. Like I love how she approaches, cinema. Like she just has a brilliant mind when she does movies. I love her directing. What's his name? Matter of fact, he did The Mandalorian. Oh, what's his name? He directed a couple episodes of The Mandalorian. It's escaping my name, right? What is it?
Is there any way you could look it up to see what his name is?
Yeah. I'm finna look right.
But yeah, man, like definitely. I just like seeing a change. I guess like just change of pace, especially with these big name genres, like stuff that's been around for years, like Star Wars and different superhero brands and all that kind of stuff. Like I love that. And like I said, it's baby steps because we've always been here, but it's just about people that have these franchises and have these names, giving us the opportunity to be able to put our spin on it, and it's not so much like I know Dmitri talks about that a lot. It's not so much that we will put something on there that's just like blackity black. Like that's not the case at all. But it's just give, it's not like I'm gonna make a movie about if you gave Ryan Coogler the opportunity to make a Superman movie, I'm sure. Well, I don't know. I don't, because him and Michael B. Jordan kind of close, so we might see.
Look, he gonna cast Michael B. Jordan. Don't even think about it. That's gonna be the first person he cast.
That's a bad example. I don't want to say that because we might see our first black Superman movie with Michael B. Jordan as a president of Superman. So we might, that might not be a bad thing though. That might not, but
it might not. It might be what we need right now. But that's hilarious.
But yeah, so I mean, my biggest thing is just like give Black directors, Black writers the opportunity to just put their take on a story, and I'm sure it's not going to be completely 100% race driven. It's just getting a different perspective. That's all. That's all. Did you find him, Marcus?
I did, and
what's his name?
It's Rick. Man, these people, I hate when they have hard names I cannot pronounce, bro. Because I do not like to mess up anybody's name. He's Nigerian American. It's Rick. I think it's Famuyiwa or something like that. I know I messed it up, but
his name is Rick from Famuyiwa.
Famuyiwa. It's Nigerian.
How do you spell it? How do you spell his last name?
Famuyiwa.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I'm sure
I struggle with that, right?
we completely apologize for butchering his name, but he said his name is Rick.
Yeah, it's Rick. He was one of the directors on The Mandalorian. He did a couple of episodes.
Oh wow, that's awesome. Like I said, that's more of what we want to see, having Black people just get in the door, or people of color, period. Doesn't have to be necessarily just African American, but we want to see more minorities just get in the door. Like I love like Crazy Rich Asians. Was like
my mom said that movie was hilarious.
I mean, it was an amazing movie, and I think it was so cool because it's like, once again, you get to see a different type of story. It doesn't have to be something specific to the culture, but you just get to see different minorities doing different things. It's like, that's cool. Like I wouldn't, like, what's a random movie, like just think like Super Bad. You know what I'm saying? Like if that was 3 Black guys, you know what I'm saying? Like just stuff like that. I would like to see, just different stories told from different perspectives. And it doesn't have to be totally culturally different. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause I don't know what the minds are of like these, directors that, put stuff out. It's not going to be like, a hip hop thing or whatever. It's just going to be a story about, because what was Superbad? A story about like 3 guys, coming up,
guys trying to go to a party, get some girls,
get some girls, right? Yeah. So why couldn't that story have been 3 Black guys or 3 Asian guys or 3 Indian guys? Like what?
I would say, or
why not
2 Black guys and the Asian guy, like, or
right
guy, like just mix it up,
right? Just mix it up. You know what I'm saying? Make it realistic to just not one demographic, because culturally they might, do something that, I'm not used to, or, you never know. I just think a great way to be able to, how can I put it? I guess a good way to appeal to a bigger audience would be to just use different points of view. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. And just to kind of put everything in a circle to come back around to how we started about our favorite directors. The reason why I asked y'all like a Black director in a film, because I'm just interested to hear from other, from people, our people, what Black films we love, because it's something we don't talk about a lot.
Right.
And I'm gonna give a couple throughout, before we end.
Yeah.
Of recommendations to watch, especially for Black History Month. It's a documentary on it's like a little docu-series. It's episodes, but it's on Netflix, and it's called They Gotta Have Us. Like that's why I use that, that analogy when I was talking about it. But it's called They Gotta Have Us. And it's so it's crazy when it came out, when it actually was released. John Singleton had already filmed it, but he had passed when it came out. So it was, it was very emotional, like for me as a, as a fan in the film, a student of film. It was very emotional for me to watch it. But it's an important documentary because it touches on those aspects of film in black entertainment from early Hollywood on to now. And it goes through like each decade. So definitely to all our viewers out there, watch They Gotta Have Us. It's on Netflix. I don't know how many episodes it is, but it's definitely an easy watch. You can get through it in probably like a day. Like it's really easy to watch. And
Okay.
thinking about that, another person, another beautiful queen who doesn't get her recognition is Miss Dorothy Dandridge, and
Ah, true.
she is the Marilyn Monroe before it was a Marilyn Monroe,
Yeah.
because she was the one who was like the sex symbol, and she was, the beautiful woman in the film and the one who all the guys wanted. And she was out before Marilyn Monroe had actually got like really big. And a lot of people don't give her the credit. And of course, because, you know, her career wasn't as long just like Marilyn Monroe's, and it was, tragic. It didn't, last that long. But she should get a little bit more recognition. And, that's another thing, like when you say the representation, like what do you see young black girls, or just, black girls in their 20s, what kind of t-shirts you always see them with? A Marilyn Monroe t-shirt.
Yeah,
And it's
that's
because
true.
they haven't been informed about who she was. And I guarantee you, if they put her name out there more and let them know who she is, you would see more T-shirts with Dorothy Dandridge on it.
Yeah.
But you would see more T-shirts with Josephine Baker, or Bessie Smith. Those kind of people.
Yeah.
But like we keep saying, it's a slow progression. It just
It's
takes time. It just takes time. So
it
that's
is.
another name I always, those the names I've said today are always names I bring up when I talk about black film and black entertainment, because they don't get enough, recognition, and they don't get talked about enough. So I always, no matter when I talk about it, I always say those people who I've said today. So that's let's give her, let's put her name out there, give her that recognition, man. Dorothy Dandridge, she, like I said, she had a short career, but she did a lot, in that short time.
Okay, and it definitely, man. She needs to get more recognition, and that kind of sparks something for me. One of the last things, because we can't leave them out. You know what I'm saying? Like our African American women, they're truly a big part of our society and make such a great contribution in everything. I mean, film aside, I love to talk about black women in STEM. They're killing it in science. They're killing it in everything. And I kind of wanted to ask, it doesn't have to be directorial, but I wanted to ask you guys, like, who's your favorite African American woman just killing it right now in the film industry?
You know what? For me, the person who I started this off with, Regina King, man.
Regina King.
Like, this woman, oh man, like I really do admire her. Just her body of work, period, man. And she has been doing it for so long, and I'm just so glad she is finally getting the recognition she deserves. Like, her winning the Oscar, like she been killing it. She
No,
won,
she's been doing the thing.
she's won, I think some SAG awards. She's won an Emmy. Like I just told y'all at the beginning, she's nominated for a Golden Globe. She just made her directorial debut with One Night in Miami. If Bill
Hmm.
Street Could Talk. And then if we go before that, she did voice acting. She did the voice of Huey and Riley Freeman
Yeah,
on the Boondocks. So that just shows her range.
her range is crazy.
And then, I mean, let's just talk about Ray. She was in the Ray Charles biopic. So, I mean, this lady has been killing it in the game for a long time. Because we can go either further back, The Boys in the Hood,
Mhm.
Poetic Justice, A Thin Line Between Love and Hate. Like I've really been watching her career since she started, and it's so funny to me because it just like it tripped me out the other day when I was sitting there watching one night, um, in Miami with my mom and them, and I was just sitting there like, dang, I'm watching a film directed by Regina King, bro. Like people don't understand how crazy that is for you to see somebody grow like that and come, and it was a beautiful film. It was really good, especially for her first film. I was like, wow. So for me, it's gotta be Regina King. Like that's mine right there.
Okay. How about you, Josh?
I guess I would say Tiffany Haddish. She's funny. I mean, she's cool. I'm not really too big on like actors and stuff. I'm not. Or Octavia Spencer. I really like Octavia Spencer, but
She's killing it too.
Yeah, Octavia
yeah,
is definitely killing it.
No,
oh yeah,
no, Octavia Spencer. No, she's definitely a good one. I put her and like Viola Davis like in the
Took the
same
words right out of my
in the
mouth.
same vein. Like, yeah, they're just powerhouse actresses, man. Like it's but no, Josh, you made a good point, man. Because I was actually that's what I picked actually, Tiffany Haddish, because people don't really pay no attention to her, but that girl there, man, that woman Tiffany Haddish is just like you don't even realize how long she's been in the game, man.
Oh no, she's been
Like
doing this for a long time.
that's a hard working woman, because I was like, I thought she was relatively new till I saw her like early like Def Comedy Jam stand-ups, and then it's like she went from that to being in all kind of movies, and just becoming a household name. And then you come from stuff like not being able to read to not growing up in the best environment, and she had to overcome a lot, because I watched her stand-up recently and she talked about a lot of it, and it's just like, man, that, and she refers to herself as like, well, the black unicorn, but it's like, it's true, man. I mean, you don't see a lot of that. Like she did her thing, man. Like, and she's still continuing to do it, man. And I just like, especially, in comedy, like you talk about African American women in comedy, a lot of people talk about they bring up like Monique and all that kind of stuff, and all of the the early greats and stuff like that. But as for today, if you wanted to talk about the like a recent like equivalent to like queen of comedy, like you gotta give it to Tiffany. You got to.
Tiffany,
Like
Tiffany, and what's the other lady? Saturday Night Live. Leslie.
Leslie, oh my gosh, yes, Leslie too, man. Leslie out here doing her thing, killing it. Yeah, man. So you just got, once again, it's crazy that we only have these situations to where there's like one or two at a time. I'd love to have it, and then oh man, and what's the name too? Shantae Wayans is out here killing it too, so she's really doing her thing. I love her stand up. She's doing really well representing the African American community. But like I said, it's only a couple. Like we need so much more out there. Like I know women right now, some of my friends trying to do comedy, and it's just like there needs to be a place to where there's more of us accepted in that world, But like you said, guys, it's baby steps, and I guess we'll get there eventually. But I'm tired of it. I'm tired of waiting. I just want us to be accepted, in the sciences, in the arts, in everyday life, everything, man. In sports, we could talk for hours, man. We could talk for hours, but we talked about a lot of good stuff, y'all. And the biggest thing is like, it's Black History Month. And I'm so glad that we were able to talk about, Black representation in the arts and in film and being directors and all that good stuff. Because I'm sure like there's a lot of our listeners and viewers out there that had no idea about these people that are behind the scenes. So I'm just happy to be able to share our feelings and educate and hopefully get some of these people a lot more recognition that they need,
Yes, man. Yeah. And
for sure.
And we just want to tip our hats to all of those before us and those who will come after us and those who are doing it now. And even
Definitely.
for us here at the Square Round Table, we are all hoping to make that difference in those fields, like Chad is doing with science, Josh with engineering, Demetrius with education, me with film and art. So we are all, you know, like Tupac said, he said, I might not be the one, you know, to make the change or to move this forward, but I might spark the brain to be that next person. And he was talking about us because at that time we were the children of, you know, we were that generation he was speaking about. So now we have to spark the brains of the next generation, and it has to continue to go on. So for us to succeed as a people, we have to come together and help each other and have our back. And that's the main thing about anything we do. If we back each other up, wherever we go and whatever we do, we will get so far with anything. So that's my message, you know, as a part of Black History Month and just Black History period, because just don't celebrate it for a month. You know, we appreciate it and we're gonna turn up for this month because
for sure.
it's our month. But celebrate Black History every day, every year, for the rest of your life.
It's
Read
important.
about these people. Find out who you are, who your ancestors are. You know, find out about, you know, the people besides who they always play on TV or, you know, tell you to read about in school. You know about your history. Know about the pharaohs, you know, the Shaka Zulus, and, you know about all of those people. So you could be aware of these things just in case they take that knowledge away from us where we could never look at it again. So I know that was my little soapbox, but, you know, I really just, you know how I get. You know how I get. So yes, man, we really want to advocate that to our listeners. And that's everybody. Know the history of this country. It's Black history, it's Asian history, Mexican, all of that. Any people who are here in this country who have contributed to the progression, it's the history of America. So yes.
You know what,
And
Marcus? Go ahead, Josh.
Nah, what were you gonna say, Chad?
No, what's up?
I mean, I want to cut. Oh yeah, all that was well said, Marcus. Very well said. And if I might add, it's imperative for you to follow your dreams because all of our ancestors have made it possible for us to do pretty much anything, go to any college, or pursue any job, and do any of that stuff. So, I mean, if it's something that you want to do, you need to get out here and do it. You have no excuse. Just do it. You know.
Exactly. And, you know, those are definitely great points you guys made, man. I am so thrilled that, you know, we were happy that we were able to sit down and, you know, talk about all of this good stuff today, guys. Like, it's really a great experience for me. And yeah, y'all, you know, we're the Square Roundtable podcast. And from all of us to all of you, happy Black History Month, guys. Celebrate, enjoy yourselves, enjoy the empowerment, enjoy the Black excellence. And that's all we have for you guys tonight. We are out. Peace.